morning.
Sound of our teen sports listeners, I'm your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
Every single Tuesday.
9 a.m. Good morning, everybody. Look who's here. We've got Emily Yurcheshen, Kristine Marie, A View from the Deck, Dominique Hackett. Woo, ladies. This is girl power this morning. I like it. I like it. But Richard will be popping in, and then we're going to have another mastery story from Ryan Quirk. That'll be in there. You're going to be doing a
Kierkegaard.
a Hackett, life hack with Dominique Hackett. So that's good. So we have a powerful show today. So if you just dropped in on us, this is a place where passion meets purpose, where teens discover their voice, their power, and their potential on the field, the classroom, out in the world. Every week we highlight stories, try to give the tips and tools that kids need to focus in today's modern world. I want to just give love out there to all the coaches, the volunteers, this great community here in Santa Barbara that reaches back and gives back, because here it's not just about playing the game, it's about changing the game.
Yes.
Bang! That's a t-shirt. That's a t-shirt.
That is a t-shirt.
Yeah, it is. That's that. Be the game. That's what I like. That's it. Just be it. So let's do this. We always like to go and go around and give a little love. You want to start, Dee?
Love and gratitude.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I got a birthday present for Chaucer's Bookstore.
Nice.
And I want to give love to Bookstores because Chaucer's is so magical. It's like one of my favorite places. And Emily,
I like the smell.
Emily was the one.
When you walk in, the smell.
Oh, I know.
There's a certain kind of smell. It's been there forever.
And I told Emily that you've now given me an excuse to disappear in the bookstore for 5 hours so that I can decide what I want to spend my money on.
Yep. Yeah, I like the smell.
Yeah, I love that. In the kids section, I love to hide out in the kids section and just read all the kids' children's books. They're so amazing. And they wrap gifts for Christmas. They wrap their gifts, which is amazing. What about businesses that wrap their gifts? Yes?
Yes.
That's true. Got to think about stores like that in this community. We're still trying to come back. Okay. I look at other of our surrounding satellite suburb cities, and I see them be bouncing around. They're robust. I don't see a lot of vacancies. The people are out. They're spending money. Parking lots are full. Dominique and I we've been on missions and journeys. We're going up to San Luis Obispo. We go down to Ojai. We go up to even in Carp. Okay, I just don't see Santa Barbara is still, I hate to say that.
That Santa Barbara is still redefining its purpose.
Yes.
So it may not so much be about COVID, but we are going through a city shift.
Yeah.
And it is nice. I think it's nice that we decided to block off State Street and experiment with having it be more of a promenade. I think that was really healthy. I want to see State Street turn into mixed use is my.
It's always been, that's been on the plate for 50 years.
Yep.
But when you're having these organizations that come in and they're spending $300,000-$400,000 to figure out something that we already know that's not going to work, that's kind of annoying.
Sometimes, as citizens of Santa Barbara, we laugh at the studies they do.
We need another study. Okay. The last study didn't do anything.
So, Kristine, what gratitude do you have?
I want to put out a gratitude, at least for local business, Candle Bar 111, which is down in the Funk Zone. I think the Funk Zone is thriving at this point, and it's 111 East Yananali Street. It's this really cool little candle bar where you can go and make candles, and they use high quality scents and different things. So if you have allergies to synthetic scents, they don't do any of that. And I actually did a little tarot workshop there a few weeks ago, or maybe a month or two ago, which was so much fun. And it's like it's very much a feminine collective, but everybody can go there. But they do women's workshops and stuff, but anybody's workshops, and you can go and make candles. It's an amazing little local spot. Candle Bar 111 should be easy to remember. It's 111 East Yananali Street.
Nice.
Candles.
Yes.
I like it.
Yeah,
Then if
very
you
nice.
haven't yet, if you got to figure out, Emily's going to go in next, but I want to just throw out there because it just hit me. I just had this vision, we were, Kristine Marie and I were making candles, and then we went over and we decided to blow glass. Okay. At Raul Alcaraz. Okay. I love that. Okay. We have supported them and loved them for 15 years.
Yes.
And they have supported and loved us. Anytime I need something for an auction or anything like that, he's always, what do you need? How can I help? And
Where are they? Are they in Goleta?
No, downtown Santa Barbara. He just moved off of Mason Street.
Yes. And handy.
So
Cool. Right down in the funk zone.
Yes.
He went around the block, but yeah, you can look it up. Just put SBR glass. He'll pop up. And he's so good.
It's such a beautiful
If you're
place.
a teacher or a homeschooler, St. Raphael's has enjoyed their classes for all through my kids' life. My kids are in their 30s now. Okay, that's how far this guy's gone back. But he's really good. So if anybody has any connections or relationships and they want to have a field trip, he loves
the Christmas presents
and the Christmas presents. But he sits there and he does art for the kids for free. So, but be sure if you want that free word, be sure you mention Teen Sports Radio. Okay.
Nice.
Say Erica said on the radio. Okay. That we are going to have a class trip. It's fabulous. It's something that I actually had my son's 16th birthday party. He still has his Leaning Tower of Pizza shot glass. Okay. This is when he was 16. He goes, can I make a shot? I wanted to die. I was so embarrassed. Okay. And he still has it. And it leans a little over to the right. It's awesome. But yeah, this is something, they're so magical. So Gina, Saul, and their boys, we love you and have been so grateful and to have you as friends of the show. And personally, they're just beautiful people. Emily, who do you want to give some love to?
I'd like to give some love to Maria at the Jazz Hair Salon. It's across from Trader Joe's on De La Vina, and it is the sweetest little salon. Everybody can come in. It's really affordable. She decorates it super cute for the holidays, and it's just a little love corner. Get a little hair therapy, a little spark for the holidays, and
wow, hair therapy. I noticed you've been bouncing around the last couple of days.
Yeah.
You have had a good hair day.
Yeah. After I swim, it seems to be. Every time after I swim, the chlorine does something to my hair.
So anyway, listen, let's open it up. Kristine Marie, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Woo! We got Kristine Marie right after these messages.
We are back, and this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday,
9 a.m.
Welcome forward. This is Kristine Marie with a view from the deck. I'm going to start off with a quote from Stephen Hawking. Actually, he had 3 quotes that he said to his kids. I'm reading this in a little of life lessons. Here are the most important pieces of advice that I've passed on to my children. 1, remember to look up at the stars and not down at your feet. 2, never give up work. Work gives you meaning and purpose, and life is empty without it. And 3, if you are lucky enough to find love, remember it is rare and don't throw it away.
That sends really tingles in my heart.
Yeah, I love it. So it's that, remember, look up at the stars and not down at your feet. Isn't that a nice thing? And looking up at the stars. Well, actually, before we go looking up at the stars, I want to say that if you're around for Christmas time, the 20th and the 21st, the weekend before Christmas on the solstice, there's going to be Santa Barbara Rebels is having their show, which is called Celestial Fools. And there's the sun and the moon and the stars, and we'll be on stage, and I'll be singing on stage, and it's just such a fun community event. So please, it's the 20th and the 21st, and it's a family show. It's so much fun. So that's a good time. That's a nice way to look up at the stars if you feel so to have them closer. If you feel so inclined.
I'm going. I've got my tickets. I'm so excited.
I actually, Kristine Marie, I met in the hiking class that I do on Tuesdays. The producer of the show was there, and I got to have a really nice conversation with her about her show. And I think she just celebrated her 80th 80th birthday or something.
Oh, she's not the producer. She's the artistic director. She was actually the founder. She's been working so hard, and this is her. It's been like her passion, her life's blood. That quote really does work for her. Her husband is a love. Her work is amazing. She, Susan Keller is her name, and this is her passion project for her life. I mean, basically. So I think supposedly she's retiring, but I don't know if she ever will. But yeah, she's the reason that Rebels is here, and it's an amazing,
so beautiful. Yeah, she was just a beautiful being, and she just did a big celebration for her 80th birthday. And I thought, wow, I got to hike with the artistic director of the Rebels. That's so great. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, she's lovely, and she's in the show each time she says this one poem, and she sings with us, and she's pretty amazing. So it's a passion project for her. Yeah. So let's looking up at the sun right now. The sun is in Sagittarius. Last week, we had a super full moon last Thursday, and now the moon is waning, which means it was super full. So if you put an intention into the moon at the new moon and you watched it fill out, I hope that happens. Something good happened for you at that full moon. Now it's waxing. That's where, at the full moon, when the full moon comes, you say, okay, I'm ready to let go of this. I'm tired of this. And then as it wanes and goes to the new moon, we can see how, if during that 2 weeks, if we've had help, celestial assistance in letting go of old patterns that no longer serve us.
It's so interesting to me that nature sets us up for house cleaning every month. Every month we're being asked to let go of something, to let something new come in. I so appreciate your observations, Kristine.
Thank you.
I think with the holidays, it's so important too, because sometimes there's heaviness during the holidays, and we can transform that by lightening the load. And I love all the creativity we talked about, the glass blowing, and there's so many amazing creative things that are going on that can help lighten the load and change the patterns for things that really just don't serve us anymore, right? We can be lighter and more playful and do some house cleaning with the holidays too.
Yeah. And let's see. So the moon was in Leo today, and it's there's the sun in Sagittarius, moon in Leo. They're having a really good conversation, which is bringing overall happiness, life success, and health and well-being. And this, according to astrosofa.com, it even says it's a good time to go out on a date if you're single. So I'm so if someone asks you out for today,
Emily, I'm the dating queen here.
Emily,
it's a fun day. And then the moon is also having a really nice conversation with Mars, which is in Sagittarius, over there with the sun. And it's willpower and courage and resourcefulness. And it's really a good time for self-improvement and self-love and taking care of yourself. So that's a really good thing. So, and then, what else? Then there's some different conversations. The moon's coming into conversation with Mercury. So if communication's a little bit difficult, that's okay. Just listen. I would say practice active listening, which is like when someone says something, rather than just reacting, say, okay, hey, especially if it makes you upset, say, let me just reflect back to you. I heard this. Is that what you meant to say? Right? Yeah. Because sometimes what we hear isn't always what the person meant to say. We have filters that filter things that are coming into us that I don't know why it happens, but we just do. And so it's really good to reflect, like the moon reflects the sun, right? If we say, hey, this is what I'm hearing, because then that gives people the opportunity to say, no, actually. Yeah.
Gives them the opportunity to shift. No, I didn't mean that.
Take a breath and maybe even count to 10, right? Just get in your own energy and just use that active listening to get in presence, and then open your mouth. Because sometimes when we open our mouth, our energy, even though the words might be our energy, if we can come back into our center, can be very helpful.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it just,
nice.
it just gives such an opportunity for true communication to happen. Because when we get triggered, we tend to shut down. At least I know I do. Yeah. And I get upset and I'll get reactive versus me just taking a breath and saying, nice. And giving the person a chance to clarify what they meant.
And the holidays kind of heightens that, right? There are unconscious patterns that come up. And so sometimes we blurt things out, or, our uncle at the table says something, we're like, whoa, whatever it is. But there's unconscious things coming up. And so I think those tools are very helpful, especially during the holidays.
Yeah. Nice. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Holy cow. All of us, I see Ryan. He's got a self-mastery story. Right after Ryan, Sky Ellsworth is going to be talking about some nutrition. This is nice right before the holidays. Are we going to be animal or vegetable? We don't know. He's going to be talking. He's going to breaking down those two. And then we've got a life hack with Dominique. So let's get to it. We got a big show. We will be back with more.
Love you, ladies. Thank you so much.
After these messages.
We are back, and this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday,
9 a.m.
Hello, and welcome back, Teen Sports Radio listeners. My name is Ryan Quirk, here with another self-mastery story. And today I want to talk about the power of positive thinking. In the past few segments and sessions, I've kind of dived more into the realm of stopping thought, ceasing negative thoughts, negative beliefs, negative feelings. But today I want to talk about the power of positive thinking. And this was inspired by me recently seeing a clip of LeBron James, the 40-year-old superstar NBA player who's won multiple championships, arguably the greatest player of all time. And I saw a clip of him walking out of the locker room of his onto the court, and he was kind of just walking alone. There was a camera following behind him, and you just hear him repeating to himself, "I don't get tired. I don't get tired. I don't get tired." Now, if you watch any NBA game, you know that obviously it's pretty physically intensive, and you see him sweating, working hard, things like that. But his mind is now wired on a different setting, and if you watch these games, he's at 40 years old doing things that some 20-year-olds will never be able to do in their entire lives. And so I've kind of seen this thing with different athletes and some of their mantras and the things that they do and the way that they train their minds. And I had a mentor of mine once tell me, good athletes really master their physical regimen and training. Good athletes, they train hard in the gym, they lift weights, they practice a lot, things like that. But great athletes take on a different task, and that's mastering the mind. When you get to the level of professional sports, those athletes are so talented. I mean, there are players that will never see a full NBA game who are better than you could ever imagine in terms of sheer skill, size, athleticism. And that's true of every sport. I played a little bit of hockey, very briefly so, at the Division III level, and I was blown away by the players that I was seeing, and many of those players, will never touch an NHL ice, which just shows you how impeccably amazing some of these athletes are. And so it got me thinking about, what separates the really good athletes, the Division III, the Division I players, from the really elite pro level athletes. And what I started to realize is, of course, you have some physical separators. If you've been blessed with great athletic genes, things like that, you train hard, that has to be a prerequisite. But the next thing is the mindset. And, some of these players, you might think that they're a little bit cocky, but if you watch interviews with players like Steph Curry, Anthony Edwards, these are just some different favorite NBA players of mine, all of them say things like, I am the best, I am, amazing. You have to kind of have that level of confidence. This doesn't mean you have to put down your teammates or anything like that, but you have to really believe in yourself and train your mind in a way where you're going out saying, I can dominate on any given night. And another one of these qualities that I noticed from these great players is they shake off their bad performances really easily, and they don't over-glorify their positive performances. So let's look at the difference here. Steph Curry, for him, getting 25 points in a night is pretty common, pretty simple for him. And so you don't see him overly celebrating when he has a good night. Why is that? That's because he's used to that. He has trained his belief system, his mindset, his identity into just being like, oh yeah, a great performance, that's normal for me. So you see him happy, you see him celebrating a little bit, but he's not freaking out. Meanwhile, if you see a player who's mostly been on the bench all season, they come out, they have a really great game, they're going to be celebrating really, really fanatically, because in their mind, they go, that's a rarity for me. So one of these helpful reminders and practices that any young athlete can do, or any athlete for that matter, or we can do in our own lives, is when you attain to some level of success in your endeavor, whether that's a sport, work, school, whatever it is, remind yourself, this is normal for me. Yes, I'm happy with what I just did, but this is common. This is the norm. This is just the way that I do things. Remind yourself that often. Another thing I see too is, if a bad player, or sorry, maybe bad's too harsh of a word, if a player who's not maybe a starting player has a bad performance, people go, oh yeah, well, we kind of expected that. He wasn't really, one of our top performers. We expected that. That's normal for him. If a really good player has an off night, you see about it. If Steph Curry has a bad game, you'll see about it written in articles and things like that. And that's because it's a rarity for him. So these athletes have a way of both blunting against getting overexcited and overwhelmed by when they have a bad game, because in their mindset, in their belief system, good games are normal for me and bad games are not normal. It was a fluke. It was a one-off. What I used to do when I had a bad game is I would start to get into these worrisome thought patterns. Things like, what if this is just going to happen to me again? What if this is just the state of my game? I would get so hard on myself and I would just overthink every little detail and bad performance. And it wasn't until I started changing that perspective and just saying after the game, you know what? Like, what are 2 or 3 things that I can learn from, 2 or 3 mistakes that I can make? And then just say, okay, that was an off night. That's not my norm. That's not regular for me. What is regular for me? And then I would start to think about all the great performances I had. I would start to marinate my mind in the successes that I had, whether that was in practice, in games, whatever it might be, in a training session. I would marinate my mind in that belief systems. Now, this doesn't mean you have to be obsessive or perfect. Every single athlete, they're going to have a night or a game or anything like that where, they do get a little hard on themselves. They do kind of feel like, they get a little lost in those negative thought patterns. The difference is not how many negative thoughts you have, it's how long you allow them to stay there. One of the key traits of mental mastery is, there was I forget which athlete this was. Someone asked him, they say, like, do you get nervous or do you get down on yourself after a bad night? I think it was a tennis player. And he said, of course I do, but the difference is that I only get nervous or anxious or anything like that for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, for a short period of time, and then I reorient my mind. That's very different from an athlete who, let's say, has a bad game and then they're nervous for the next week. They're ruminating on it for the next week. So it's not that you get rid of the negative thoughts, the anxiety, whatever it might be. It's that its buffer time in your experience is far, far less. Far less. And so, we think that this process is difficult, like, mental mastery, but really, it's not that difficult. It's just that we've never practiced it. We don't expect someone who's just begun playing the piano to suddenly know how to play Beethoven's symphonies and things of that nature. It takes practice. It takes gradual work and practice over and over, day in, day out, to really retrain your mind to be in a positive state. If anything, the world is kind of working against us a little bit. We see so much negativity on the news. We hear negativity from coaches, teachers, peers, things like that. And we have to realize, it's okay to not buy into that negativity. It's okay to not be like the norm. I don't have to be negative to be accepted or to fit in or to go with the flow of what other people are going with. I'm going to find my own way. I'm going to find my own stream, my own path forward. And that can be a very positive decision. That can be a path forward that you get to create, because nobody gets to choose your thoughts but you. Nobody gets to choose how you see things, what you do, except for you. So, don't be hard on yourself if you're beginning the process of mental mastery or realizing that you may have some negative thought patterns, some negative ideas kind of running through you. Just begin by practicing. And one of the most simple practices that I can recommend, and I'll just go back to, is when you have a good performance, just quickly affirm to yourself, whether that's in again, in school, in a sport, anything like that, this is normal for me. This is normal for me. And when you have a bad or an off night or whatever, just say, okay, that was an off night. That's abnormal for me. That's not the norm. I'll have a great game the next game. Just begin with that practice and just kind of play with this, play with different positive thoughts, play with different positive affirmations. If you look things up on YouTube, there's guided meditations, there's journal entries, there's so many different things you can do. Ultimately, the most important thing is that you just start, because when you start, you will get much better at it, and eventually you will train your mind to be in a very positive state, filled with self-belief and self-confidence, and you will start to see it translate onto the field, the court, the ice rink, or just into your daily life. So thank you for listening. Thank you for coming back for another self-mastery segment. My name is Ryan Quirk. You can find my work at rqselfmastery.com. That is rqselfmastery.com. That is my website. You can find there my work, my book, everything else, a lot of information like this. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.
We are back, and this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday,
9 a.m.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Sky, and I am a student at Life Chiropractic College West. And today I thought it might be fun to talk about plants or meat. I've been noticing a lot of interesting questions that have been popping up on social media about plants and whether they're actually healthy for you or not. What's becoming really popular right now is the idea of a carnivore diet, where people are eating mostly, if not all, meats and fats and almost excluding plants. We talked a little bit before about oatmeal and why oatmeal isn't so good for you, and that has to do with something called phytic acid, which is an anti-nutrient and blocks your body's ability to absorb those nutrients. But there's another type of acid too that's found in plants that can also be a little bit dangerous, and it's called oxalic acid. You may have heard of that in regards specifically to kidney stones, which are a fairly common occurrence. So I thought it might be fun to dive into this a little bit deeper and talk about what should we actually be eating. Should we be eating a carnivore diet? Should we be eating plants? A combination of the two? Are there certain plants specifically that we should be avoiding? So let's get into it. So oxalic acid, despite the fact that acids are things that typically break things down, oxalic acid is something that actually builds up. And they build into these little kind of calcium deposits that can get caught in your system. And the best example I can think of are kidney stones. But oxalic acid, or also sometimes called oxalates, can be fairly dangerous, but a lot of people don't actually end up with kidney stones who eat a lot of oxalate-rich foods. So there is a genetic link. We're a little uncertain exactly what that is at this point, but there is a genetic link. Some people are more susceptible than others. If you have family members that have had kidney stones, you may be more susceptible to your body not being able to break down oxalates properly. There are some other things that can be done to break down oxalates. One of those is lemon juice. So drinking water with lemon in it is one of the best ways to break down oxalates. So what are some foods that are really high in oxalates? One that I can think of right offhand is actually tea. Drinking tea consistently is one of the biggest offenders, but that's pretty easily corrected by actually putting lemon juice in your tea. Another thing that comes up a lot is kale. And kale is something that's pretty heavily debated. A lot of people that are more into the carnivore side of things are really very much against kale. And you may have heard of some recipes for like kale salads where people are actually massaging the greens. And you massage the greens often with lemon juice or vinegar to actually break down the oxalic acid that's in kale. If you eat kale raw, that's when you have to be careful. So you have all of these people these days that are juicing kale or putting it in smoothies, just raw handfuls of it, or even eating a salad without massaging the greens. And that's going to cause those oxalates to build up in your system pretty So that is something that you want to avoid, obviously. If you do want to eat kale, kale is incredibly nutritive. There's an equal amount of calcium in the same amount of kale as there is in milk. So drinking an 8-ounce glass of milk has the same amount of calcium as 8 ounces of kale. So kale is an absolutely incredible nutrient, especially if you're dairy-free. However, it is important to know how to prepare kale properly and eat kale properly. What are some other oxalic acid-rich foods? Let me think. Spinach. Spinach is one. A lot of other leafy greens. But spinach is obviously, you have the same issue with kale, is that it has a lot of nutrients, iron. So you really want to make sure that you are getting this in your diet, but maybe just not overdoing it. And also preparing it properly, being sure to cook it, being sure to eat it with something that has a little bit of acid. Now, you can also supplement. So instead of drinking just lemon juice, you can actually take citric acid in a capsule, and that will help to break down those oxalates that may build up in your system. So that's another get around. I want to get into this a little bit more in another episode where we talk specifically about the advantages of a carnivore diet and why that might be healthy. Personally, I don't advocate for an all carnivore diet. I think that our environment was created with a lot of opportunity for eating plants, for eating vegetables. And I think that there's a reason for that. They're so loaded with minerals and nutrients. We just have to be careful of which ones we're eating and that we're not eating them all the time exclusively, because that's when there's a problem. That's that old adage about everything in moderation. Right. And really making sure that we're eating these well-balanced meals that are full of color so that we're getting these broad spectrum diets. That's hugely, hugely important. Also, in regards to plants and oxalic acid, especially this time of year in the fall, squash is really big. Unfortunately, I love squash. Squash and pumpkins are some of my favorite things. I remember saying that in our episode last week. But squash is also really high in oxalates. So it's another thing to be careful of when you're consuming it, is just to make sure that you're not consuming it raw, right? So that you're cooking it. Maybe you're eating it with something that has a little bit of that citric acid component to it. Whether that's having a glass of water with lemon juice, which is fairly common at, upscale restaurants. May as well do it for yourself too. Or maybe you're combining it with other foods. Maybe you're combining it with things that allow the nutrients in that squash to be absorbed better. Squash, for instance, the nutrients in squash are better absorbed if you also have beans, which help to complete the protein, and also corn. Corn, it has a lot of amino acids in it, but not enough to complete the protein. So corn, beans, and squash, the Native Americans called the Three Sisters, are a great thing to eat together. And there are actually components in corn that also help to break down oxalic acid. So that is all I have for you today. And again, in the future, I want to get into this a little bit more. The real takeaway is that our ancestors ate broad spectrum diets, ate a lot of plants, nuts, and meat when they could get it. And I think it's important to understand that our bodies have not fully evolved to fit into our current environment and our current time period. So we're constantly keeping up with it, which means that sometimes we need to follow the paths of our ancestors in addition to bringing in the bits of the modern world and modern foodways. So taking all that into consideration, balanced diet is the answer. Pay attention to your oxalic acids. And more next week. Back to you, Erica.
Thank you, Richard. Wow. Animal or vegetable? I don't know. Dr. G, what would you rather have, an animal diet or a vegetable diet?
I think because fruits would be included in the vegetable diet, I'd go with the vegetable diet.
There you go. Well, there's a lot to learn, and we're blessed to have Sky with us, and looking forward to his segment next week, maybe with Bryant and or Sonia. But next up, we have Life Hack. It's with Dominique.
We are back, and this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday,
9 a.m.
Hello, Teen Sports Radio family. It's Dominique Hackett with Santa Barbara Wellness Center. And today I'm going to bring you a topic having to do with anxiety, but I'm going to take some knowledge and information from someone who lived a little while ago. His name was Kierkegaard. Am I saying that right, Erica?
It's Kierkegaard, isn't it?
Kierkegaard.
That's it.
There we go. And basically, he was done with anxiety and overthinking, and he gave a lot of great ideas about how you can follow the same pattern. So who was he? Super real quick. He was an OG existentialist, the original figure out who you are dude. The man who said, stop overthinking, start choosing, and most importantly, your anxiety isn't a curse. It's a sign that you're leveling up. So basically, Kierkegaard was the first influencer of mental clarity. Without a big ring of light around his head. Okay, today I'm going to break down his philosophy into 7 very simple morning steps that you can take that will help relieve anxiety, help with stress relief, mental clarity, overthinking, confidence, self-worth, motivation, focus, school stress, and sports performance. Yeah, everything you search for at 1 a.m. when your brain won't shut up, right? This practice helps with that. So let's go. The Kierkegaard daily practice. It starts with just 5 minutes in the morning, a ritual that will turn your anxiety into action. So Kierkegaard believed this: you do not become yourself through thinking. You become yourself through choosing. That means a teen's mental health hack is you got to get yourself to that choose moment. So you start with a number 1, still point. Before you scroll, before you check that snap streaks, before you see if your crush viewed your story, just sit there and breathe and ask yourself. That's the first question. What truth am I avoiding today? Wow, isn't that a strange statement? What truth am I avoiding today? It's like that assignment that you ghosted, or the conversation you've been dodging, or maybe the workout that you skipped, or your room that looks like a meteor hit the laundry basket. So Kierkegaard called this the inward honesty. I'll call it stop sneaking past your own spirit like it can't see you. So that still moment to say to yourself, what truth am I avoiding? Then you identify the not. It just takes a moment. Where am I overthinking instead of choosing? Spot the issue. Am I delaying? Am I spiraling? And I'm overanalyzing? Refresh that thought maybe 47 times like it's a group chat. Well, yeah, that's your not, all right? So the next is a leap of faith. It's just a question. If I wasn't afraid, what would I choose? That's it. Your first instinct. That's the real one. Don't overthink this. That little whisper that pops in before your anxiety shows up. Like, wait, let's make a spreadsheet. Let's look at the pros and cons. We could color code the flow chart and postpone this choice till 1937. No, your true self already knows the answer. It popped into your mind and your heart. That's the one you pick, the very first instant. Make the smallest possible leap. Now, not the whole mountain, just one pebble, one tiny brave action. For example, send the text, make the call, write one paragraph, write one sentence of the first paragraph, drink some water, clean one corner of your room or one corner of your bed, right? Record a 30-second clip, walk 5 minutes, Google the thing that you're scared to Google. Action equals clarity. Teen Mental Health Act number 1. You cannot think your way out of anxiety. You can act your way out. Kierkegaard says to act is to become. And what I'm saying is to act is to stop torturing yourself. So Freedom of the reframe. Say it out loud. This anxiety is not a warning. This anxiety is my freedom. That's right. Anxiety isn't your enemy. It's literally your brain saying, oh, you're about to grow. You're about to expand. You're stepping into the next version of you. It's possibility. It's power. It's your evolution calling. So the inevitable, imperfect step. Now the cure to perfectionism. This teen mental health problem is, oh my God, perfectionism. That is the villain. You got to say this to yourself. I choose this step. It won't be perfect, but I'm doing it anyway. One more time. Let's say it together. I choose this step. It won't be perfect, but I'm doing it anyway. Kierkegaard said the biggest mistake is not choosing, not acting, not stepping. You don't need to be perfect. You need motion. So you're going to seal the deal. I won't think my way into living. I will live my way into clarity. That's it. That's your seal. That's your stamp. That's your energetic signature. So here's an optional check-in for you at night. How did I avoid myself today? Ouch. That's a good one. Did I take the leap that I chose in the morning? Okay, that's being honest with yourself. And the third question, what did today reveal about who I'm becoming? Wow, what a great check-in. And I know Erica would add, do things to make you happy. You got to include your community and other people. When you're doing things to help make other people happy, that happiness flows right to you and the anxiety just melts away. So this morning, give yourself this practice of clarity. It gives you power. It gives you a way out of anxiety and into action every single day. And as always, you got this. This is Dominique with Santa Barbara Wellness Center. Take care.
Thank you, Dominique. It's always so powerful. Okay. Remember, teens, it's not about winning the game. It's about the kind of teammate who lifts others up. Be that person. Okay. Every day is a chance to grow. Every day is a chance to give back. And every day is a chance to show gratitude for the people who make this community so, so special. If you missed any part of these episodes, many are not aware, but we're everywhere. We're on speakers, SoundCloud, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, you name it. Just drop in Teen Sports Radio and you'll find us. Okay. My name is Erica, the host, Queen of Teen, Santa Barbara. Be good, Santa Barbara. Do good. God bless you all. Let's go, Santa Barbara. See you next week.